Hello guys, welcome back to my channel Anatomy on Your Fingertips. We have already completed radius and scapula and humerus. So now it's turn for ulna. So it's a small bone. There is nothing to remember in this bone. So yeah, we will complete it fast. Okay. So this is the ulna bone, upper end of the ulna bone. Okay, and this is the radial radius bone, lower end of the radius bone, and lower end of the upper ulna bone. And if you remember, I have already shown you this in the previous video of radius. Okay, this, not this one. Okay, so this is the lower end of the radius, and it has articulation of scaphoid bone, which is triangular, little bit triangular, although it's not triangular here, but never mind. It is in real, it is triangular, and this is quadrangular in shape for articulation for lunate. Okay, lunate and scaphoid is the what bone? Carpal bone. Okay, and this is the lower end of the ulna, which has medial styled process. In radius we have lateral styled process, as ulna is the medial bone of the forearm and antebrachium. Okay, so it has styled process in the medial side, and radius is the lateral bone, so it has styled process on the lateral side. So we have common points or here for the ulna, that ulna is the medial bone of antebrachium or forearm. Okay, if you didn't see my previous video of radius, you don't know the meaning of antebrachium. It is known as the forearm. The technical word of forearm in anatomy is the antebrachium, and technical word of arm is brachium, this one. Okay, and you can remember this like this, that brachium, we have brachial artery also, brachial plexus also. So arm is known as the brachium in anatomy. Okay, so in the same as the radius, we have proximal end or the upper end and shaft, and the lower end in the ulna also. Okay, so proximal end of ulna is large end, and is known as the olecranon process. Okay, that form prominence of elbow. इट मीन्स कि मतलब जो हमारा अपर एंड होता है अल्लाह का, वो बहुत लार्ज होता है, उसके पास एक ओलेक्रॉन प्रोसेस होता है, जो कि हमारा ओलेक्रॉन फोसा ऑफ ह्यूमरस में जाके आर्टिकुलेट होता है टू फॉर्म द एल्बो जॉइंट. ओके, सो एल्बो जॉइंट, दिस इज़ आवर एल्बो जॉइंट. ओके, सो इसमें क्या होता है, हमारी रेडियस होती है, दिस इज़ द लेटरल साइड, दिस इज़ द मीडियल साइड. तो मीडियल साइड पे हमारी अल्ना होगी, लेटरल साइड पे हमारी क्या होगी, रेडियस होगी, और ऊपर हमारी आर्म में क्या होगी, ह्यूमरस बोन होगी. तो रेडियस एंड अल्ना दोनों पहले एक दूसरे से अटैच होते हैं आर्टिकुलेशन पॉइंट से, रेडियो अल्नर जॉइंट के थ्रू, अपर में भी एंड लोअर एंड में भी, एंड फिर यही एल्बो जॉइंट बनाने के लिए कहाँ पे अटैच होते हैं, ह्यूमरस के साथ. तो जो हमारी रेडियस बोन है वो हमारी ह्यूमरस के साथ अटैच होती है थ्रू कैपिट्यूलम, एंड जो अल्ना बोन है वो हमारी रेडियस के साथ 2 से अटैच होती है, 2 पॉइंट से अटैच होती है. वन इज ट्रॉक्लियर नॉच से, और सेकेंड वन इज ओलेक्रॉन प्रोसेस इन ऑन द पोस्टीरियर साइड. ओलेक्रॉन प्रोसेस जो होता है वो हमारा पोस्टीरियर साइड पे होता है, एंड इट इज़ ईजिली पाल्पेबल. ये जो रफ पार्ट है और ये जो हमारा मतलब एल्बो है, इस पे जो ये बाहर पार्ट आ रहा है, इसी को हम ओलेक्रॉन क्या बोलते हैं, प्रोसेस बोलते हैं. इट इज़ ईजिली पाल्पेबल. ओलेक्रॉन प्रोसेस इज पाल्पेबल. पाल्पेबल का मतलब होता है वी कैन टच इट एंड फील इट. ओके, एंड इट इज़ सबक्यूटेनियस. सबक्यूटेनियस मीन्स अंडर द स्किन. ओके, सो डैट फॉर्म प्रोमिनेंस ऑफ एल्बो मतलब प्रोमिनेंस ऑफ एल्बो मतलब थोड़ा बाहरीपन एल्बो के अंदर फॉर्म करता है. ओके, एंड अल्ना हैज़ अ नॉच ऑन इट्स एंटीरियर सरफेस. उसके एंटीरियर, अल्ना के एंटीरियर सरफेस पे वी हैव वन नॉच विच इज़ नोन एज द ट्रॉक्लियर नॉच. आई हैव ऑलरेडी टोल्ड यू जस्ट नाउ दैट ट्रॉक्लियर नॉच जो है आर्टिकुलेट होता है ट्रॉक्लिया ऑफ ह्यूमरस पे. ओके, किस पे, ट्रॉक्लियर नॉच हमारा आर्टिकुलेट होता है और ज्वाइन होता है ट्रॉक्लियर और ह्यूमरस पे. ह्यूमरस के पास हमारे 2 पार्ट्स होते हैं. ठीक है, 2 लोअर एंड में 2 आर्टिकुलर सरफेस होते हैं. एक होता है ट्रॉक्लिया, एक होता है कैपिटलम. कैपिटलम हमारा रेडियस के साथ जाके ज्वाइन होता है, और ट्रॉक्लिया हमारा अल्ना के साथ जाके ज्वाइन होता है. ओके, एंड अल्ना के पास किससे ज्वाइन होगा, ट्रॉक्लिया ऑफ ह्यूमरस, ट्रॉक्लियर नॉच. और कैपिटलम किसके साथ जाके अटैच होता है, हमारा इसके साथ जाके अटैच होता है, डायरेक्ट अटैच. और वन मोर थिंग है टू रिमेंबर इज दैट जो ह्यूमरस है वो डायरेक्टली हमारा अल्ना रेडियस के साथ अटैच नहीं होता है, थ्रू एनुलर लिगामेंट्स के थ्रू वो अटैच होते हैं. ठीक है, डायरेक्टली वी हैव नो आर्टिकुलेशन ऑफ द बोन रेडियस एंड द ह्यूमरस. ओके, तो सो राइट दिस पॉइंट एंड रिमेंबर इट. It is a really important point. Below trochlear notch, just below the trochlear notch, we have triangular coronoid process. Triangular coronoid process which will going to attach or articulate with the head of radius. As I have told you, अल्ना और रेडियस खुद भी आपस में एक दूसरे से अटैच होते हैं, अपर एंड पे भी और लोअर एंड पे भी. अपर एंड पे वो फॉर्म करते हैं प्रॉक्सिमल रेडियो अल्नर जॉइंट, एंड लोअर एंड पे क्या फॉर्म करते हैं, डिस्टल रेडियो अल्नर जॉइंट. ओके, सो प्रॉक्सिमल एंड पे कौन किसके साथ अटैच होता है, कोरोनॉइड प्रोसेस ऑफ अल्ना विल गोइंग टू अटैच विद द हेड ऑफ ह्यूमरस. ओके, सो नाउ shaft of ulna tapers from above to down. If you have seen my previous video of radius, you have clearly known this point, that what's the meaning of taper here. Okay, so I will once again repeat this. Okay, अगर जो हमारी रेडियस बोन होती है उसको हम बोलते हैं इट्स टेपर्स अप. डैट मीन्स ऊपर से छोटी है, नीचे जाके वाइड एंड ब्रॉड होती जाएगी. ओके, सो रेडियस बोन जो हमारी क्या होती है, वो होती है टेपर्स अप. एंड जो अल्ना बोन है वो हमारी ऊपर से बहुत वाइडर होती है, बहुत बड़ी होती है, नीचे जा जाके वो बहुत ज़्यादा छोटी हो जाती है. तो वी कैन से टेपर्स डाउन. टेपर का मतलब होता है छोटा, और यू कैन से मतलब नैरो होना. ठीक है, तो रेडियस बोन कहाँ से नैरो है, ऊपर से. टेपर्स अप. और अल्ना बोन कहाँ से नैरो है, डाउन से, नीचे से. तो tapers down. And the posterior border of ulna is rounded and subcutaneous, which is all posterior border here means olecron. Okay, it is rounded and subcutaneous. It is subcutaneous, that's why it is palpable. We can easily touch it and feel it. Okay, so now see in the diagram, this is the upper end of the ulna, and this is the olecron notch, this is the olecron process. Okay, and this is cup like shaped. This is the trochlear notch which will going to attach with the trochlea of humerus. This is the coronoid process which is going to attach with the head of radius. Okay, this is the radial notch, and this I have already explained you. Now, so this is the detailed diagram of radius and ulna. I will again going to repeat the main points of the radius and ulna bone. So be careful and be attentive here. Okay, so this is the radius bone, and this is the ulna bone. This is the anterior view, and this is the posterior view. We will see it later. Okay, so as we have already studied, this is the circular head of radius. Radius is the lateral bone, ulna is the medial bone. So we will gonna study about the radius, or see about the radius first, and then we will go to the ulna. Circular head, just below the head it has neck, and on the medial side we have one tuberosity which is known as the radial tuberosity, जो कि हमारी attach होगी जाके किसके साथ, ulna के साथ. Okay, this is the shaft of the radius. This is the lower end of the radius. On the lateral side we have striate process, this one. Okay, on the lateral side, as radius is the lateral bone, so it has striate process on the lateral side itself. Okay, and this is the joint here which is known as the distal radio ulnar joint. Distal means lower end पे joint है, तो हम इसको क्या बोलेंगे, distal radio ulnar joint. And this one is the proximal radio ulnar joint. Proximal radio ulnar joint, upper end पे joint है तो proximal radio ulnar joint. किस के बीच में, radius और ulna, so radio ulnar joint. This is the radial notch. Okay, they form hook like structure between radius and ulna, which is known as the radial notch of ulna. Radial notch of ulna will going to attach with the head of radius. Okay, this is olecron process of ulna. This is trochlear notch which will going to attach with the trochlea of humerus. Okay, this is the interosseous membrane. What is this? This is the interosseous membrane which will connect the radius and ulna. One more thing here is to remember that the border where the interosseous membrane will attach in radius as well as in ulna is the sharpest border. Okay, so which is the sharpest border of the radius? The medial border is the sharpest border of radius, while in ulna this one is the medial and this one is the lateral one, because if this is our mid axis, so this is the ये थोड़ी पास में है, तो this is the medial border and this one is the lateral border because it is far away from the medial axis. So the lateral border of the ulna is the sharpest border and the medial border of radius is the sharpest border in the radius. Okay, so now let's come to the posterior view of the radius and ulna. So this is the posterior view and this is ulna and this is radius. Okay, so this is the olecranon process which is easily palpable in the posterior surface of our body, and this is the shaft. This is striate process of ulna. This is striate process of radius. This is interosseous membrane. This is shaft of radius. This is just below the head of radius we have neck of radius. Okay, so this is the posterior view of the radius. Now come closer to the lower end of the radius and ulna. Okay, so yeah, this is the lower end of the radius which is wider. You can easily if someone asks you how to detect or how to if you have two bones in front of you, one is radius, one is ulna, so how can you detect without going in detail of that bone? Okay, so you can easily detect the bone which is tapers down is known as the ulna bone. The bone which is tapers up is known as the radius bone. So this bone is tapers up, so this is the radius bone and this one is the ulna bone. On the lateral side of radius, on the lateral side of lower end of the radius, we have articulation surface of scaphoid bone which is a carpal bone, and on the lower end, on the medial end of lower end of the radius, we have articulation surface for lunate which is also a carpal bone. On the lower end of the ulna, we have striate process on the medial side. Okay, so yeah, this is the lower structure. And now come to this. This is a more elaborative structure of the elbow joint. Okay, so this is the lower end of the humerus. It has two notches, or you can say two articulation surfaces. One is capitulum and second one is trochlea, and this is the radius bone, this is the ulna bone. So the trochlea of humerus will going to attach with the trochlea of ulna, trochlea notch of ulna. Okay, and the capitulum of humerus will going to attach with the circular head of radius with the annular joint. You have to remember this, that humerus will never going to attach with radius directly. It will going to attach with radius by annular ligament. Okay, ये यहाँ पे डायग्राम में it is इनकरेक्ट हेयर, ये डायरेक्ट अटैच नहीं होते, एनुअलर लिगामेंट के थ्रू अटैच होता है ह्यूमरस इसके साथ. ओके, एंड दिस annular ligament will also stabilize this elbow joint. Okay, so this is the posterior view of the elbow joint. This is the lower end of the humerus. This is the olecranon process which is palpable, you can see it, and this is the ulna bone, this is the radius bone head. Yeah, this one is the correct diagram. You can see here, this is the gap between the humerus and the head of radius. Here in between, annular ligament will be present which attach the humerus with the radius bone, which is known as these ligament is known as the annular ligament. What? Annular ligaments. So yeah, here we have completed the radius and ulna. So now we have only left with the bones of the hand. So yeah, after that we can go further in the detail of anatomy of upper limb. Okay, so bye guys, this is it for now. We will meet in the next video. Like, subscribe and share. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share my channel. I will also mention my email ID and my Instagram ID in the description box. Please go and check it out, my Instagram page too.